All right, so there's the nut that holds the pulley on. Could not get that thing loose last night to save myself. Put a little PV blaster on it, let it sit all night. Right off like a dream. Put a pair of vice grips on it here just to kind of jam it up so it couldn't, you know, spin on me. Now, ooh, she feels loose. So I'm gonna need to do this two hands here. Okay, I'm gonna depress the clutch, which should pull the pressure off of this wheel here. Now that's separate from the clutch. Okay, so let's pull this wheel up here like this. That gets it away from this pulley, and there we go. Just like that. Nice. So that's the pulley we're going to try to retrofit. I'm going to clean it up a little bit, of course. But we're going to try to retrofit that and put that on the engine, I think. That's a spline pulley. So I'm going to need that spline to go back on here. Ooh, look at that little brake rotor spinning around. Woo. So here's the pulley off the back. It's got a spline shaft in it. Here's the pulley off the front. It's got a keyway in it. So how's a guy going to take that shaft input and put it on there, and then take that shaft input and put it on what that's supposed to be? So I'm going to, well, I think I'm going to put the motor back on here and see how I line up with this pulley, actually. And once I know that, I feel like I'm going to run down a Tractor Supply and see what my options are.
All right, so I just flipped the tractor back over on its feet. Probably should have videoed that. My Herculean efforts.
She goes in there like that. And we know it runs. You guys all saw it run. That was in the first video. If you haven't watched it yet, jump back, take a look at that. All right, so I got my 4 bolts. I got these 4 spacers, I guess. All right, so I got the 4 bolts, 4 spacers back in there. The engine's lightly held in place. What I want to do is flip it on its side again. Basically, I'm trying to figure out the alignment of the pulleys so I know. I think it's this guy here that I'm using, the small one. I didn't really pay attention when it came off. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the one that powers the drive of the tractor. This was the one that powers the mower deck, the accessories, that sort of thing. So I've also got a few other mowers out here and a bunch of mower decks. I'm gonna look and see if I've got any pulleys on them I could. So let's flip this thing over again. Not exactly fun to do with one person, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And this time it's got an engine on it, so it'll be a little bit heavier. Hopefully it doesn't roll all the way over. Let's see. Yeah. She wants to go all the way over. Let's stop that from happening. So, all right, let's do this. Let's put the belt up in here. We're losing all our engine oil over here. Yeah, every bit of it. Might be put new oil in this thing before we start it again. But it's kind of important to me that I get this right here. So hold the clutch with that hand. Put the pulley onto this hand. All right, here's what we got. We got our drive belt here. This comes off the engine, comes into our clutch. Of course, as this spins, this closes up, makes this a bigger pulley, makes the other one on the other side a smaller pulley. So we're kind of gearing ourselves up there. So that's what we need. We need a pulley up here, but I want a bigger one. That will actually fit just inside the frame. That's about the biggest pulley I can go with there. So I might take a hole saw, try to cut that out of there, get a flange that goes on there, weld it to this pulley here, and that takes care of the front. And then I'll take that, what I cut out, and hopefully weld it into a smaller pulley. You can see we got a bit of an oil leak going on over here. So now that I know what I need to do, let's go ahead and put this thing down one more time. All this moving the tractor around, I won't have to go to the gym today. That'd be like 40-some years in a row. All right. I'm losing my table. I'm really glad I decided to put that third 2x4 in the middle of my table. It's moments like that where you see your whole life pass by. Anyways, I'm going to screw this down to the 2x4s so that doesn't happen again. A little sketchy, but I got a little oil thing going on here. I'm going to throw some kitty litter on that. I guess I should have taken that pulley off before I did that. Let me pull that down real quick. Struggle's real, folks. The struggle is real. Let's take our pieces and our parts, head off Tractor Supply, see what we can get going here. Get a couple motors out here in the parts pile. Look at that. It's a small rear pulley. It's got a little fan on it. That's nice. That'll keep my tushy cool. Let's just spray a little PB blaster down on him. Let him sit and soak for a bit. We'll come back for you later, buddy. I don't know if it's the right, I think the spline on it's going to be too small. The nut's a lot smaller than the other tractor was. This is off a big old 5.5 horsepower. I thought it was a 15. I don't know. Vanguard. Is that a 15.5 or a Vanguard slash 5.5? I don't know. Play with that one later. See what she's got. We got the overhead valve flavor going on there. We'll see what she's got to offer. Okay, so what size pulleys are we running right now? We're running an 8.5 on the back, and we're running a 3.5 on the front. So 8.5 front, 2 on the back, maybe 2.5. That should switch things up pretty nicely, I think. What do you guys think? Pretty spicy? I really gotta clean up this oil. All right, kids, time for math class. Currently, with an 8.5 driven pulley and a 3.5 drive pulley, I'm running a ratio of 2.43 to 1. Swapping those around and doing an 8.5 drive pulley and a 2.5-inch driven pulley, I'm doing a ratio of 0.29 to 1. 0.29 to 1 into 243 goes 8.38 times the current top speed of 7 miles an hour brings me to the new top speed of 58.65. So yeah, I'm just upstairs, and maybe it's time to invest in a helmet. I don't know. That'd be smart. Okay, driving my new top speed. Doesn't feel that fast. Perfectly stable. Now I'm in the Nissan 350Z. It might have been built for this a little bit better than a really old lawn tractor. I don't know. How bad could it be? All right, here's the game plan. An 1.75-inch bimetal hole saw. If I cut that out of there, that, take that piece that comes out will fit right in the middle of that pulley. So we're going 3.5 instead of the 2.5. But that's the smallest I got. But that piece there will then go in here. I can weld that in, and then the hole that's left in here will be a little bit bigger than that. So if I go ahead and grind this pulley off of here and leave a little bit of that part down in there until this pulley here fits over top of there, then I'll just cut the bottom off. The bottom pulley, you see where that shoulder is? There's a washer that goes up in there and a bolt. So I can cut everything up to that shoulder. I'll leave just a little bit left, but I'll cut most of this off the bottom. That way I get this shaft here. I've already own it, already own this, already own this. The only thing I'm buying is a hole saw and one pulley, and we should get this thing swapped up. Let's see how it works. Oh yeah, okay, fact check, aisle 23. Sent my math video to my buddy Tyler. He's the guy that, likes to push me to do stupid things and then reins me in when I do. But anyways, he said, yes, my math is correct. He's an engineer. Nice. He said my math is correct on the speed, but we have to, factor in things like horsepower, things like that, of course. So if I can do 40 miles an hour, I'd be pretty happy with that. We'll see how that works out. Do you ever wonder if people buy things and then put the old ones back in the package and return them? Yeah, I think that happens too. Not bad at all. Centered up really well. And we've got our other pulley here that we just purchased at the old Tractor Supply. This is the spline piece. See how it's going to fit right in the middle there? I think actually if I dropped it in from the top, look at that. Get that in there. Get it centered up nice. Oh yeah. So, a little hot. Careful not to touch it here. Put this. So here we go. So the piece we took out of the back pulley with the spline on it that we need for the transaxle, we cut that. It's just a little sticker on there. We cut that, and that's got the splines in it now. We'll weld it right in the center of this new pulley, and then we've got the rear pulley that we took off the transaxle, and we're gonna cut down the shaft, and we'll put that on the front engine shaft and weld it on, and we've got our pulley swap. Put that over there. You can see the hole I've got in the middle here is a little bit bigger than the shaft, but this shaft is also a little bit bigger down here than it is up here. So I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to cut the bottom pulley off first. We already know it's coming off. Let's go ahead and get it off of there. I think I'm just going to cut it off with the grinder, and then I'll go back with the chop saw and just kind of straighten that up a little bit so it's nicer. Just got to leave, I've got 1.5 inches before I hit the shoulder, so I can take 1 inch off the bottom of that and still have room. And I got to remember the measurement of 1.5 inches from the top of here to the center of that pulley is 1.5 inches, because I'm going to need this one to sit the same place so that my belt alignment works. Okay, I apologize. The last two videos, I just watched them back. Looks like I had no sound. Not sure what's going on there. But anyways, what I was doing is taking this, basically getting rid of that pulley. My poor man's lathe, you know. Paint roller stick through the middle of it and hold it up against a grinder. But anyways, end result, you drop it in there. Look at that. So I'll be able to center that up and then weld it around there. I'm going to clean up that metal, of course, first, and then I can turn it around and I can weld it on the top side as well. That gives me the perfect, this is the shaft that came off the engine, so it's going to sit back up there. My spacing from top to middle is still 1.5. I'm going to clean this pulley up because right now it's pretty rough, and that would go ahead and tear up a belt fairly quick, I'm sure. So I'm going to clean that up, weld that together. We might even paint it, make it look nice. Not bad. Whew. Very hot though, very hot. But those welds aren't bad. Okay, considering this is the actual first project I've really welded on, I'm pretty happy with the way the welds are turning out. That looks pretty good, and I tell you what, it's never gonna let go. I can guarantee you that is stuck. Great contact there. I'm gonna put it over here on the floor and let that piece cool. And the next piece we're going to work on is this guy here. We've got the new pulley that's going to go, we bought that at a Tractor Supply. That's going to go on the, and the spline on this one, the top, needs to be flush with the pulley so it matches up what we had on there before, right height. And the way this cut, the drill bit cut almost all the way back. And see that little lip on the front where it just kind of, the metal got too thin and broke through? It left just enough flange to hold itself in the middle, and it's centered perfectly. It won't move, and there's enough flange there. It just pops in. It's like they're made to go together. Not bad at all, Mr. Boyd. All right, this thing's at a temperature I can actually pick it up now. Right? Not bad. Not bad. First real project I've ever welded on. I think I've got that pretty good. Now, my little pulley over here, it's a different story. My wire feed screwed up on my welder, and it's like slipping on the wire. It's not grabbing it, pushing it through. So I got to figure out what's going on there, but in the meantime, I got it welded enough that I can put it together, and I'll just touch it up later. All right, so currently having a little bit of issue with my welder. Got to figure out what's going on there. The wire feed, it's just spinning on the wire. It's not grabbing it and pushing it through like it should. Not sure what's going on there. I'll call the customer help desk when it's not a weekend and find out. I got my welder working again. Just welded that one. So back here, what's next? Remember that Dorman washer we found? That's what locks on there like that. So right now, the spindle will just spin in here, and the reason it'll spin is because this is a front tire. Remember we did the front tires front and back because we wanted to get that go-kart stance. So this is a front tire. So to keep it from spinning, we got to put that washer on there like that, and then this washer will need to be welded around that hub to that. So I'm going to put it on there like that so that the centering works. Then I just go put a couple little tacks on there to hold it, and then I'll take it off and properly weld it all the way around. But that's what we got to do on the back. what we're gonna have to do after that is make a sleeve, because the old rim was deeper too. It came all the way back to here. So right now we got this much shaft. So what'll happen is this wheel can actually move on the inside here. It only goes so far because that flat spot's only so far, and then this will catch. But still, I want the wheel to stay out where it belongs. And then after that, there's a washer and a nut that goes in here, and that's what keeps it on here, so the wheel can't come off this way. Once again, I'm not feeding. Oh. Well, that makes sense. This time I'm out of welding wire. So back to the hardware store I go. Spent a lot of time at the hardware store.
Yes, I do.
All right, and all cooled off now. There is the rear pulley that'll go on the, it's got the splines in it that we need to go on the transaxle. And that is the new pulley I bought at Tractor Supply this morning. 3.5 inch for the back. And then there's our 8.5 inch for the front. So kind of see them together. Should be awesome. First problem with the welder today was the wire wouldn't feed through. So I'm new to welding, YouTube it. Maybe the liner in the hose needs to be changed. I haven't even gone through a full spool of wire yet. That shouldn't be it. Maybe the wheels, the steel wheels that feed it are wore out. Still, not even a full spool. Nobody suggests anything simpler than that. So I went down to the hardware store about the welder. Said, listen, here's what I got. Guy that works there, his name's Sam. Pretty bright guy. He said to me, well, you probably picked up a knot because I'm getting low on wire. So probably jumped a spool and got a kink in it. I got a kink someplace in the line. He was right. So I cut it at the welder, pulled it back so I didn't want to rip the knot all the way through the liner. Pulled it back, got the kink out of there, got the ugly piece of wire out, got it hooked up, welded for about 3 minutes, and it stopped again. What's wrong? Now I'm out of wire. So back to the hardware store, got another spool of wire, got the big spool like I got the first time, so it should last me at least a little while. And we're gonna try to weld up this wheel now without further ado. Yeah, it's making the grease come right out of that wheel, and boy, that's just catching on fire. But there is a bushing at the front, so what I'm trying to do is weld over the bushing, from the washer over the bushing, and get the actual rim itself, because I don't want the bushing just to spin in the wheel, which I eventually imagine it would do. So I think I got that in there pretty good. I'm going to let that cool down just a little bit, because I don't want to overheat the air inside that tire and cause any kind of problem that I didn't even know. All right, there we go. There's our big pulley on the front. It clears all the way around the frame and everything else. Clears up here with enough room to put a belt in there. First thing we'd notice is we're running into our clutch release here. I think the belt will actually come over the top of that, but this brake is going to get in the way, so we're going to figure out how to get around that. But I think this belt will come up and around that. This here we might have to notch it up and back or something, but this belt here will come around the bottom here, and we just got to get a belt on there and see where we're clear and where we don't. We've got a retainer bolt on here to hold the belt on. That'll have to get moved because that's going to be kind of in the way, but looking forward to, I'm going to cut this belt here, and let's just go ahead and do that right now. We're going to cut that belt, and then we'll use it to wrap around, and we can see where it's going to go and what it's going to do. This front pulley is huge.
Look at that. Look at that. Look
there we
at
go. We got
that.
the belt wrapped around there. I'm going to set this up with the tripod and do a little bit better. But I think you can see coming down here First issue we have is we're going to catch up in here. So we might need to take this bracket off. Basically, when this bracket, what it's doing is it's pulling on the parking or the brake. So I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take this bracket off of here, cut it, turn it around, and put this down here. So when you push on the clutch, this bracket rotates to the front, and then it eventually picks up the brake. So I think what we're going to have to do is take that bracket off of there and do something at the bottom. Maybe we can actually just take the bracket and slide it down and get this thing over top. We're going to have to worry about our safety switch there. But these are all things you do when you're doing a project like this. This belt here will come in on the bottom here and hit here. So the next problem we run into is this clutch alignment tool. What we might have to do is just take that off and just turn it. It might be clear looking at how close it is. It might just be clear if we turn this and flip it and put it on the underside, which will give the exact same thing. And the other thing here too, we can just cut the welds off the bottom of this here. It's welded on the bottom. Cut the welds, slide that down here and re-weld it so we've got clearance for this belt. But I love the idea of that big belt going from there to the clutch. And then on the back side, we were down to, well, let's come around here. We were down to that little bitty pulley right there on the back. Remember, that's where we got the 8.5-inch pulley from, was from the back here. So we're down to a 3.5-inch pulley. This is a brand new pulley. It is on a spline. And I think the problem with this pulley is it's going to interfere with our selector for going forward, reverse, neutral. That selector comes around here and ties in down here. And you can see where it's just moving that pin in and out. That would be pretty easy to relocate someplace else, and that's what we might have to do with that. So we're gonna have to move the brakes, we're gonna have to move that, but that's all part of fabricating. That's what makes this fun, that's what makes this exciting. It's they were never designed to be built this way, so stuff's in the way. That's what you got to deal with.